Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I would like to do a readathon wrap-up for all the readathons that I have been participating in so far in the month of June. Now, one of them is not over, it goes through the whole month of June, but I have already met the prompts, so I may as well go ahead and include it in this video, and I have just had so much fun. Now, when I started out the month and I did my TBR for June, I only thought I was going to do 2 of these. I didn't even know about one of them, and that turned out to be the one that I really just jumped into head first. But there is another readathon that starts this coming week that I am going to hold off on until July 1st, and that is the Cozy Mystery Summer Reading Challenge, where we take the title of a book has to start with the letters S-U-M-M-E-R. That starts the first day of summer, and it goes to the last day of summer. So I've got plenty of time on that, and since I've been really focusing on these readathons for the first 2/3 of the month, I need to finish up and complete some of my own personal goals for the month for some of my own personal reading challenges. So I did a video yesterday. It was my Friday reads and sort of my TBR for the rest of the month, where I talked about what I'm reading starting now and going forward for the last several days of the month. So I want to just focus on what I read for the readathons, and several of these things counted for more than one, as well as my own personal challenges. So I feel really great about what I got read, and like I said, I started out the month not even knowing about the Golden Girls readathon, or right, I think I knew about it right after, well, when I posted my June TBR. Donna from Studio in the Library, she said, well, I'm going to do the Golden Girls readathon, and I was like, oh, I think I've heard something about that, and I went and checked it out. Rachel Fryman is the host of that. She's a librarian, and it looked like so much fun. Becca from Hicks Picks Books, and also a few other people that I follow on Instagram, were all jumping in, and it just seemed like the thing to do. So I was able to plug in, for the most part, books that I was already reading, and so several of these books counted for more than one thing, and that just, that's icing on the cake. So let me start with the Golden Girls readathon. Then I also wanted to show you what I read for the category romance readathon. I read 2 books for that, and both of those counted also for the Golden Girls readathon. I have also finished the prompts for pastoraljune, which I think I already said it goes all month, but I may as well go ahead and talk about it now since I have finished the prompts. I will probably still be reading some other things throughout to the end of the month that that would count, but I may as well just go ahead and wrap this up with a bow and do June readathons in this video. So the Golden Girls readathon is made up of 10 prompts. 5 of them are for everyone, and then you're supposed to pick a girl, and each one of the Golden Girls has a set of 5 prompts that fits them. And so you pick the one you want, and then you post your page count as you finish each book. You post your page count. You can make a book count for more than one prompt, but you can only count, as far as page count, you can only count that book one time. So Rachel has it all set up on a website where you go and you submit your points. It's super easy, or your page count, and then you can see the scoreboard and see how your team is doing, and it's just super fun. So I got 10 books read for the Golden Girls readathon. I had 1 book for each prompt. I got them all read before midnight, and I think I finished the last one somewhere around 10:30 p.m., and I posted a post on Instagram for each one of them, and I just had a blast. So I'm going to go in order of the prompts, not in the order that I read them, but I think that just makes the most sense for me. So the prompts that were for everyone. The very first prompt was to read a book about a character that is older than 50 years or older. I don't know if it had to be main character or not, but I am in the middle of a series that has a main character that is in her 70s, I believe. 70s or maybe 80s. I'm not even sure. And I'm up to book 4 in this 6-book series, and it's on my Serious About Series challenge to finish this series this year. So why not just go ahead and read the next one? So I was on book 4. So I listened to this on audio. It is on, I believe they're on Scribd and Hoopla on audio. Dearest Dorothy, who would have ever thought? This is the series Welcome to Partonville. And this is just really been a sweet series series. Very fun. Not quite as good as the Miss Julia series. Not as funny, but very endearing. And I'm happy that I got book 4 read in that series. And then the next one is to read a book that is published or set in the 1980s or 1990s. And this is a book that I wanted to read before the Cozy Mystery Summer Reading Challenge starts, because the next book after this starts with S, and that's going to be my book that's going to count for S. So this is Framed and Laced by Monica Ferris. It's book 2 in the needlework. I can never remember. It's needlework or needlepoint. I think it's Needlecraft. So it's neither. Needlecraft mystery series. I really enjoyed this. I read the first book years ago called Cruel World, and I thought this was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. So I listened to that on Hoopla as well. Then the next one is to read a book with girl in the title. So I looked at everything on my TBR, not even just for the month, but just everything in my TBR. And I could not come up with anything with the actual word girl in the title. But on Hoopla, I spotted a book that I had put on my list that I wanted to read, and it's category romance, and it has the word her in the title. And I recall when I watched Rachel Fryman's Golden Girls Readathon announcement that she said girl or any iteration of that. So the title is Virgin on Her Wedding Night. Her is definitely an iteration of girl, so this is what I'm counting, and it also counts for the category romance readathon because it is a Harlequin Presents. You can't get any more category than that, and well, you can, but anyway, it counts. So I had seen it on Hoopla ages ago. Well, maybe not ages. I don't know. At least a year or more ago. I love the title, and so I got on Amazon and ordered myself a physical copy because I really wanted to have this. So I should just go ahead and tell you a little bit about it now. It is what the title says, but it's not without a couple of graphic scenes, but I approve because all the sexy times take place within a marriage. So I'm all about that. There's nothing wrong with that. And really, it didn't get overly graphic. Not at all. I have read books with so much steamy content that I just, want to cover my eyes. So this I thought was very readable. I didn't come up with this word myself, but there was another review of this, which I looked at after I read it, and another reviewer said that they thought it was kind of a convoluted way of how they got her to her wedding night as a virgin, and I kind of get that. I do. It wasn't for any morality purpose or anything like that, and the part of the reasoning wasn't super plausible. There was another direction the author could have gone that would have made much more sense. But anyway, it is what it is. I did enjoy it. It wasn't perfect, but it was fun to read. And yeah. So then the next book the next prompt is to read a book featuring a found family. So this one I'm counting for Pastoral June as well. Found family in here, not the same kind of found family as in the Golden Girls, but we start out in this book, Greenwood by Michael Christie. It starts out in 2038, and the main character there has no idea who any of her ancestors were or anything. Both of her parents died when she was young, and she knew her mother's parents, but really nothing about her father's side. So we learn that in this book. So she literally did find her family, her previous family, her ancestry, but still that's family. So I am counting this for that. I'm going to have a full review of this book. Well, I hesitate to say full review because I'm not a good reviewer. I am going to have a video dedicated to that book to tell you a little bit more about it because it's a book that I think that I would definitely recommend. I can't, as Summer said, I buddy read that with Summer from Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats, and she said, I can't imagine anyone not loving this book, and I feel the same. Her and I have different reading tastes, and we both loved it. It's a book for all people, I think. It really is. Then the next book, or the next prompt, is to read a book written by a woman. So I'm going to count Lark Rise for that. This is a bind-up of the whole trilogy, Lark Rise to Candleford, which I am reading for Pastoral June. But I did listen to the full version of Lark Rise on audio. This is an abridged version of all three, which I'm reading in addition. But I'm counting Lark Rise, and that is the group read for Pastoral June. Well, all three books are the group read, but, you know, I have finished the first one, and I am going to read the rest of this book and listen to the full versions of the other two books before the month is over. So, or that is my plan. But it is written by Flora Thompson, and it is a semi-autobiographical account of her growing up in an English hamlet. And so far, I really enjoyed the first book. We are also doing a watch-along of that. I don't really have a good visual for that. This is the 4 CD set for the season 1. There's disc 2. But my husband and I watched the first episode with the group, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. I had never heard of Lark Rise to Candleford in any. I hadn't heard of the show or the book or anything before Pastoral June. So I'm happy to know about another book series and another TV series that we will continue to watch. Then we get to Team Sophia. So the Team Sophia prompts, the first one, since Sophia is so little, it was to read a book that was less than 200 pages. Well, both of my category romances that I read are less than 200 pages, and this is one that I had on my shelf, and it just seemed like the perfect time to pick it up. It wasn't one that I needed to read for any other challenge, but it fit both readathons. It fit the Golden Girls readathon, because it is 180 pages, and it fits the category romance readathon, even though it doesn't really fit any prompts. The very last prompt was to read a book with a summary cover, and you could say that was summary. To me, it's more springtime than summer, and I didn't really set out to do the prompts. In fact, if you consider this a summer cover, that's really the only prompt that I covered. So it's fine either way, but I just enjoyed picking up a couple of romances and supporting Sarah, the bookish knitter, and Bree from Falling for Romance in their endeavor to provide a fun readathon for us to do. So then the next Sophia prompt is to read a book that contains a recipe. So another book I wanted to read before starting the Cozy Mystery Summer Challenge was to read this one, Bedeviled Eggs. I've got one more I need to read after this before I start my my challenge on that. So this is book 3, I believe. Yeah, book 3 of the Cackleberry Club. And I like this one better than the first two even. I'm getting to know the characters better. And the day I finished this, I went ahead and made the recipe. It's got several in here, but the title recipe for Bedeviled Eggs, I made the recipe, and I posted a picture of the book and the bedeviled eggs on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, you can go and check that out. It was a fun picture, and I was kind of proud of it. And then the next prompt is to read a book of historical fiction. So this was my book club book. Our library book club just met and discussed this just a few days ago, and I loved it. This is The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Wingate. This has 2 timelines. Both are historical. One of them is set in the Reconstruction era of the Civil War, right after the Civil War, where people are trying to find their families that have gotten split up across the country. And then the more modern section, but still historical storyline is set in 1987. And I was very much alive in 1987. In fact, that was the year before I moved to Florida. And I could identify with that time frame, and I really, really enjoyed the book. So I would highly recommend it. It was great. And then the next prompt was to read a book that, read a book where the author's name starts with G, for Estelle Getty. And I read a book that's been on my series about series challenge to catch up with the Haven Maker series by Robin Jones Gunn. This is book 2, Being Known. I read the first book, Becoming Us, a couple of years ago, and the publisher sent me this one as well, and I was really needing to get to it, and I wanted to finish, catch up with the series in case any more come out in this series later. I loved this. I oftentimes hear people who read romances say that they would like to see an after the happily ever after. Let's see the couple after they're married with kids, struggling and getting through life and all of that. That is exactly what this is, and it's brilliant. I just thought it was fantastic. So, any of you out there watching, especially if you are a young mom who's married with small children, like, I'm thinking like Chloe from Always Booked. Chloe, if you're watching this video, you should read this book. I think you would love it. And it's a great book. This is Christian fiction, very low-key, not evangelistic, just very, very nice. And I thought it was great. I really did. And then the next one is to... it's actually the last Golden Girls prompt is to read a book featuring an immigrant. So I've been needing to read this. I've had this sitting out on my, kind of in my staging shelf area for several months now. And this is one of the last Newbery winners from the 1960s that I needed to read. It's Onion John, and it's by Joseph Krumgold. I'm also counting this for pastoraljune, to read a children's book that is set in a rural area. And this was very good. It's kind of a coming-of-age story about a young boy who befriends an older man who is an immigrant who is not really homeless, but his home is really not up to par. And so the town bands together to build him a new home. And of course, as you can imagine, things kind of backfire. And this boy's relationship with his father, there's some things to be worked out with them, and just overall I thought it was a very enjoyable book, and I'm glad that I got it read. It was great. So then I have so that's all the Golden Girls readathons. That's my 10 books, and I just really had a wonderful experience. And I mentioned, I think, that several of these were books that I read in print. So let me just show you, out of all the books that I just showed you. Now I'm counting the audio version of Lark Rise, but I have read the Lark Rise version, the abridged version, out of this book. So I have read about half of this book in print. I read all of Greenwood in print. Being Known was a print book, Onion John, and did I even tell you the name of this? This is Love's 9 Lives. It is by a mother-daughter team, Cara, Colter, and Cassidy, Caron. And I think Cara Colter has some other Harlequin books. This is the only book I could find on Goodreads that is credited to Cassidy, Caron. And I think she was maybe 18 when this book was published. So this is also very sweet, very clean, and no sexy times in this book. There's a little bit of mild swearing, but not over the top. And it's about a cat. In fact, some of the scenes are from the perspective of a cat. So it was really cute, and I can't remember why I didn't end up telling you about that when I got to it. But anyway, this counted for Team Sophia for the a book that is less than 200 pages. So that was fun, and I read that in print. So for me to read this many books in print is pretty unheard of. And even Book of Lost Friends, I read about the last third of it in print very fast on the day of my book club. We were waiting at the doctor's office with Emily, and we had to wait about an hour, and I wasn't done with the book, and book club was right after. So I had checked it out on Hoopla on ebook, and I just skim read about a third of it, and really absorbed it. I went back later the next day and listened to it all, and I was like, yeah, I remember this. I remember this. So maybe there's hope for me yet to be a speed reader. I doubt it, but anyway. Then let's see now for so I didn't meet the prompts for the I did meet the prompts for Golden Girls. I didn't meet the prompts for the category romance readathon, but I did read these 2 books. So I'm happy about that. And then for Pastoral June, I've sort of alluded to the 4 prompts, but let me just go through them with you. I have one book here that was for my mystery book club that I am counting for the first of the Pastoral June prompts. It didn't count for anything for Golden Girls. This was to read a book with a pastoral image on the cover, and this is set in the Shetland Islands of Scotland, so I'm counting that for the first prompt. Then the second prompt was to read a book set in a rural setting. Well, this book kind of bounces around, but a lot of this is set in the forest, so very rural. And then the next one was to read a children's book set in a rural area, and I am counting Onion John for that. And then the last one is to read the group read, which I've already mentioned, is to read Lark Rise to Candleford, or just the first one if you want. I have read the first one. I'm going to read the other 2. So that is everything for Pastoral June. If I end up reading anything else that counts for it, I'll mention that in my wrap-up at the end of the month. I've got one other book here I just want to show you, and I know it's kind of silly for me to bring this back up now, but this is a book I listened to on audio in May. It's a cozy mystery, and I listened to it for the Killing It with Cozy's book club, and I ordered a copy from the library. In our whole county, there's only 1 copy, and it stayed checked out for like a month or more. Finally, it came after my wrap-up, after I'd already taken a picture of all my books for May and everything. It finally came, and I've had it sitting here. I've been meaning to show it to you for a couple of videos, and I keep forgetting to. So I need to just go ahead and get it back to the library. But anyway, it is Death Becomes Her by Nancy Coco, and it was a fun story about a woman who owns a shop where she sells honey-based products, and she finds someone who has been murdered who is holding the label of one of her products in their hand, so then she becomes a suspect. So I enjoyed this. This is the first in a series. There's only 2 or 3 in the whole series, I think, or maybe this is just the only one that's on Hoopla on audio. She's got another series that is fudge related, so that sounds fun. Anyway, this is the only book I've ever read by her, and I thought it was very enjoyable, so I just wanted to show it so I can go ahead and get it turned back into the library. So that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I showed this yesterday, but I'll show it again. My chart, it's nothing to look at. In fact, I didn't even check off everything from yesterday, but I basically just made a chart with a square for each chapter or disc or whatever, and checked it off as I went, and that just really helped me. It helped me to see and get a visual of what I still needed to read in order to get all these things done by Friday, and I got them all done, and I was so excited. So thank you so much for watching. That is all for this video. I will be back soon with another video, and let's chat in the comments. I crave your comments, and I love to read them. I love to respond, and that's just what BookTube is all about. So let's chat in the comments about any of these books or any other books you want to talk about. And I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.